Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Here today we're going to be solving Cambridge IGCSE Chemistry Paper 2 multiple choice question February-March 2020 variant 22. In today's question paper we're going to be solving question number 21 up until question number 40. This is a part 2 of the video. Guys, if you haven't seen the part 1 video, we will put a link in the description. Question number 21. Salt S is dissolved in water and 3 tests are carried out on the solution. Test. Aqueous sodium hydroxide is added. Now we know when we add aqueous sodium hydroxide, we are testing for, cations. Now, green precipitate formed insoluble in excess sodium hydroxide. So whenever there is a green precipitate, it can be indication of Fe2 plus ion or it can be an indication of chromium 3 plus ion. We know that both of them are green. However, chromium 3 plus ion dissolves in excess sodium hydroxide. Since the given salt does not dissolve, alright, so Fe2 plus ion is confirmed. Then next, dilute nitric acid is added, there is no reaction. Addition of acid, if it doesn't give any reaction, meaning that there is no carbonate present. No carbonate. Alright. Then aqueous barium nitrate is added to the acidified solution from test 2, white precipitate is seen. That means the white precipitate is indicating that there is sulfate present. We know that barium nitrate is a test for sulfate ion. And since we get white precipitate, that means SO4 minus present. Now, from the Fe2 plus, we can confirm that copper is not present and iron is present, but iron and sulfate both are present. So D is the correct answer for this question. Question number 22. Which statement about the periodic table is correct? All right. So most metallic elements are on the left. Yes, we know. This is a pretty much outline of a periodic table, and we know that metallic elements are found in this left-hand side of the periodic table. So most metal elements are on the left. This is a correct statement. Now let's see why the other statements are wrong. Elements in the same period have the same number of outer electrons. We know that elements across the period, for example, if you consider lithium, after that you have beryllium, then you have boron, and we know that as we increase, we have an increase in group number, which indicates that there is an increase in outer shell electron across a particular period. So this statement is wrong. Elements on the left are usually gases. Elements in the left are usually metals. So this is also a wrong statement. The relative atomic mass of the elements increases from right to the left. Now we know that the relative atomic mass increases in this direction shown. All right, we know lithium has a relative atomic mass of 7. Beryllium, then boron is eventually going to have more and more protons and thereby more and more mass number added to it. Now next, so the question number 22A is the correct answer. Question number 23. The diagram shows electron W, X, Y, and Z in the section of the periodic table. Which statement about the reactivity of the elements are correct? First of all, we can confirm from the periodic table this is group 1 element and this is group 7 element. So group 1 and group 7 element will react in 1:1 ratio. Now the question says X is more reactive than Y. We know that any element down the group 1 becomes more reactive. So definitely this particular first statement is wrong because Y should be more reactive than X. So since X is not more reactive than Y, A and B statements are wrong. Y is more reactive than X. All right, this particular part is correct for group 1. Okay, then the next statement. W, all right, for C, W is more reactive than Z. We know that in group 7, the most reactive is at the top and reactivity decreases down the group. Decreases in reactivity down the group. So obviously W is more reactive than Z. W is more reactive than Z. This is also a correct statement. So C, 23C is the correct answer. Question number 24. Some properties of substances are listed. They conduct electricity. All right. They have low densities. They have high melting points. They are malleable. All of this description, all right, except number 2, goes for metal. All right, metals usually have higher density. And the question says which properties are shown by transition metals. Transition metals or group 1 metals can have low densities. However, there is an exception. Most metals have high densities. So except number 2, 1, 3, and 4 can be properties of transition element. So 1, 3, 4 all should be correct. Question number 24, D. 25. Sodium is a group 1 metal. Which property that is typical of most metal is not shown by sodium? So when considering sodium, all right, we know that, first of all, we need to be very careful. They said which is not shown by sodium. So most of these particular properties is going to be shown by sodium metal. Yes, sodium metal is a good conductor of heat. It has a relatively high melting point. It is malleable. It is shiny. Okay, so now since the question asks that it is not typical of most metals, which property that is typical of most metals are not shown by sodium? All right, sodium has a low melting point. Sodium melts at a relatively low temperature, whereas typical metals other than sodium, like any group 2 metals or transition elements, they have high melting and boiling point. So definitely 25B should be the correct answer because it is not shown by sodium. Sodium does not have a very high melting point. A typical sodium will melt in hot water. So definitely, hot water is not even 100 degrees Celsius. 4 metals, iron, copper, magnesium, and Y, are heated separately with their oxides. The results are shown. So metal Y. With magnesium oxide, there is no reaction. So definitely metal Y is below magnesium in the reactivity series. All right, with Y oxide, okay, there is no reaction. Understandable. It is not going to displace the same metal. With copper, yes, there was a reaction. With iron, there was a reaction. So if I put iron, I know iron, below iron is copper, and Y metal should be above them. However, on top of Y metal, there will be magnesium. Now, we can, what is the order of reactivity of the metals least reactive first? All right, so we do understand that we already got the reactivity series. However, to prove this further, we can go on with magnesium. Now, you can see for magnesium, it can displace oxide of Y. It can displace copper oxide. It can displace iron oxide. So definitely magnesium is the most reactive. So we must consider the least reactive to be copper and most reactive to be magnesium. These two we have already got figured out. Now for copper, we can see copper cannot displace anyone. That means it is the least reactive. Also proven. Iron. Iron cannot displace anyone. All right. So since we are given an option, all right, least reactive first, we can see that copper and iron falls in the same category. It is only the magnesium and Y that matters. So most reactive will be magnesium, then the second most reactive will be Y. And iron and copper can fall in the same row. So A should be the correct answer. 26A. Guys, moving on in question number 27. Aluminium is extracted from bauxite by electrolysis. Which statement is correct? All right, so understanding aluminium being extracted from bauxite, and the process is electrolysis. Now, you see, if we look into the bauxite contains aluminium oxide, Al2O3, in the form of Al3 plus and O2 minus. The question says aluminium ions are oxidized to form aluminium. Guys, you be the judge. Al3 plus accepts 3 electrons. So definitely this is a process of reduction. So yes, it is not oxidized. We can move on. Cathodes has to be replaced regularly because it reacts with oxygen which is formed. Guys, oxide O2 minus is an anion. It is negatively charged. Cathode is also negatively charged. Thereby, it is logical that oxide will never go towards the cathode. So cathode does not require regular changing. All right, logic says that oxygen never goes towards cathode. Cryolite is added to remove impurities. We know that cryolite is added to basically lower the melting point. Cryolite acts like an impurity. All right, so it doesn't remove impurity. So this is a wrong statement. Carbon dioxide is produced at the anode. Yes, guys, at the anode, basically what happens is that 2O2 minus ions arrive at the anode and they get oxidized to oxygen and release 4 electrons. So that oxygen that is produced can further react with carbon, which is in the anode present in plenty, and that can produce carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is produced at the anode. This is a correct statement. Question number 28. Some properties of aluminium are listed. It conducts heat, it has low density, it is strong, it is resistant to corrosion. Which of these properties make aluminium suitable for making food containers for chilled food products? Now, obviously, for chilled food products, the only reason why we need aluminium in food products is that it is resistant to corrosion. So point number 4, so D is the correct answer. Water is treated as a waterwork to make it fit to drink. The water is treated at waterworks to make it fit to drink. What is present in the water when it leaves the waterworks? We know that in waterworks, as the water leaves, there is no bacteria. All right, bacteria are killed by adding chlorine. Then the question says bacteria. So bacteria will be avoided. Chlorine compounds only, chlorine compounds and soluble substances. Obviously, there will be chlorine, but not chlorine compounds only. There will be many more dissolved, soluble minerals that is naturally available in water. So those that are going to be present in the water as well. So question number 29, D is the correct answer. Question number 30. Sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and oxides of nitrogen are common gaseous pollutants found in the air. Which pollutant contributes to acid rain? We know that carbon monoxide is toxic to hemoglobin. Oxides of nitrogen, they can cause acid rain, and sulfur dioxide. So carbon monoxide will cancel it out. Oxides of nitrogen and sulfur dioxide, yes, both can cause acid rain. Oxides of nitrogen only, no. Sulfur dioxide also is a contributor for acid rain. Sulfur dioxide only, no, both of them. So B is the correct answer. Question number 31. Oxides of nitrogen such as NO and NO2 are formed in the petrol engines of car. They are removed from the exhaust gases by reactions in the car's catalytic converter. Which row describes how oxides of nitrogen are formed in a petrol engine and in a reaction that happens in the catalytic converter? Okay, so guys, oxides of nitrogen such as NO and NO2 are formed in the petrol engines all the time. What do we mean by that? Actually, because the air contains nitrogen and oxygen in the high temperatures of the car engine, it just happens to happen that nitrogen and oxygen can combine together to form nitrogen dioxide. This is a very big problem of internal combustion engine. The more hot it gets, the more problematic it becomes in terms of producing nitrogen monoxide and nitrogen dioxide. So they are removed from the exhaust gas by reaction in the catalytic converter, which is a good thing. Which row describes how oxides of nitrogen are removed in a petrol engine and a reaction that happens in the catalytic converter? Good. Guys, now oxides of nitrogen by the reaction between nitrogen and oxygen from the air. So how oxides of nitrogen are formed? Obviously, oxides of nitrogen are formed when nitrogen and oxygen in the air, they react. All right, from the air. Yes, they're from the air. So which is correct. All right, then moving on, by reacting in between nitrogen and oxygen from the air. This is correct as well. And the next question says by the reaction between nitrogen compounds in the petrol and oxygen from the car. No, there is no nitrogen compounds in the petrol, so we don't have to bother about it. C and D has the same point, so we will just cross both of them out. All right, now a reaction that happens in the catalytic converter. Catalytic converter does not have hydrogen inside it, so the reaction that happens inside a catalytic converter will definitely be nitrogen monoxide with carbon monoxide to produce nitrogen and carbon dioxide. So definitely this is the correct statement. A is the correct answer for question number 31. Guys, moving to question number 32. Zinc is used to copper iron to prevent it from rusting. How is zinc suitable metal to use? Now, zinc being used for in a cover iron to prevent it to use, this is called galvanizing. Now, this is very important because zinc is more reactive than iron. So instead of iron losing the electron, it is zinc who is going to lose the electron in order to protect the iron. So iron is more reactive than zinc? No, this is wrong. Iron atoms are bigger than zinc atoms. How is that even? Okay, that is not relatable to for the rusting, so we will just simply cross it. Zinc is more reactive than iron. This is true. And this is the main reason why iron is protected by zinc coating. Zinc atoms are bigger than iron atoms, not relevant. So C is the correct answer. Question number 33. Fertilizers are mixtures of different compounds used to increase the growth of crops. Which pair of substances contain three essential elements for plant growth? So, three essential elements are N, P, K. The N stands for nitrogen, P stands for phosphorus, and K stands for potassium. So potassium, since the names are so misleading, we can write it down. The P stands for phosphorus, nitrogen. Moving on, ammonium nitrate and calcium phosphate. So let's look at into the element that is present in ammonium nitrate. We know ammonium nitrate has a chemical formula of NH4NO3. So definitely there is nitrogen. Calcium phosphate has the chemical formula of Ca3PO4 2. So there is phosphorus. However, there is no potassium. So A is wrong. Next, ammonium nitrate and potassium chloride. All right, in potassium chloride, we know that there is KCl. So there is potassium. However, there is nitrogen, there is potassium, there is no phosphorus. Okay, so that's why this one is also be cancelled. Ammonium phosphate and potassium chloride. This kind of makes sense. Ammonium phosphate is NH4,3PO4. And along with that, we can see KCl. So we can see nitrogen, we can see phosphorus, we can see potassium. So NPK will be supplied by ammonium phosphate and potassium chloride. Potassium nitrate and calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate does not have any minerals that is essential. Potassium and nitrogen is present in D. So, but C is the correct answer. Question number 33, C is the correct answer. Guys, moving on to question number 34. Which row describes the condition used in the manufacture of sulfuric acid by the contact process? Now, we know manufacture of sulfuric acid requires V2O5 catalyst. We know the pressure must be not so high, so relatively low pressure is used, and the temperature has to be relatively moderate. It is not too high, not too less, about 450 C. So let's see how we can judge it out. So catalyst iron will, first of all, we will cancel it out. Of course, definitely pressure is relatively low. All right, and temperature is high. We can keep that because 450 degrees Celsius sounds like a pretty high temperature to me. So definitely 34D is the correct answer. Question number 35. Petroleum is an important raw material that is separated into useful products. Which terms describe petroleum and the methods used to separate it? So in terms of description, all right, petroleum. Which term describes petroleum? Petroleum is not a single compound. It is a mixture of many different type of hydrocarbon. So compound, wrong. Mixture, yes. And the process of separation of petroleum, definitely, because different compound makes petroleum. They have different boiling point. So a different boiling point can be utilized by fractional distillation. So 35D is the correct answer. Guys, question number 36. Which statement about propene are correct? Propene, as you know, it's an alkene. So guys, we need to be aware of that. It's an alkene. There is carbon-carbon double bond in an alkene. Now, the question says propene contains only single bonds. You see, number 1 is wrong. All right, so option A is gone. Then propene decolorizes bromine water. We know that wherever there is a carbon-carbon double bond, it can react with bromine water. To prove for the unsaturation, we will always use bromine water. So definitely number 2 is correct. All right, since number 2 is correct, D is wrong. All right, next, propene is obtained by cracking. Yes, we know if large alkanes are broken down, we definitely can achieve, if large alkanes are broken down, we definitely get smaller alkane. So by that, we can definitely say that we will get propene as well. Propene is a hydrocarbon. Yes, if we look into the formula of propene, it is C3H6. Definitely, it contains only carbon and hydrogen. So 2, 3, 4, all correct. B is the correct answer. Question number 36, B. Guys, question number 37. Which row describes the production of ethanol and its properties? Guys, when doing a question like this, I would definitely ask you to go back and revise in the manufacture of ethanol in 2 different processes. Number one process is a process from hydration of ethene. The other process is fermentation. Guys, please have a look at that. Yes, ethanol can be made from glucose. It is correct. Can be made from ethene. Also correct, which gives us A to be the correct answer. Yes, it is a fuel. And yes, it can be used as a solvent. All right, for many chemical industries. So 37A is the perfect answer. Question number 38. Ethanoic acid is a typical carboxylic acid. Which statement about ethanoic acid is correct? Now, definitely we are looking for, it's an acid, right? It can be oxidized to produce ethanol. You see, if we, consider ethanoic acid, or CH3COOH, if we were to oxidize it further, any further than this, you would burn it. You would turn it into carbon dioxide and water. So yes, it does not produce it does not produce ethanol by oxidation. It is proton acceptor. We know it is an acid. Acid is a proton donor. The word acid refers to proton donor. Since it is a proton donor, it is not accepting a proton. Wrong statement. It fully dissociates in water. We know that ethanoic acid is a weak acid due to its very little solubility in, it does dissolve fully, my bad. However, due to its very little ability to dissociate in water, that's why it is a weak acid. We often refer to it with a reversible arrow. So it fully dissociates in water. That's the wrong statement. So we are only left with point number D. It reacts with ethanol to produce ethyl ethanoate and water. This is the correct statement. Guys, if you're interested how this particular reaction is done, I'll show it to you. Have a look. So basically, we have ethanol. Let's consider ethanol. All right. Ethanol is with OH at the end. All right. And then when we are reacting this with ethanoic acid, we can put this together, and basically what happens is that the hydrogen and the hydroxides together react to produce water. So this will produce ethyl ethanoate. Question number 39. Which structure represents the ester made from ethanoic acid and propanol? So ester made from ethanoic acid and propanol. So ethanoic acid, whenever you are represented with question like this, remember the acid portion, whatever acid, eth means there is 2 carbon, it represents with a CO double bond O. So ethanoic acid, first of all, let's find out where we have ethanoic acid. This is a propanoic acid, so wrong. Ethanoic acid correct, propanoic acid wrong. We see for both of this particular part, we are okay. Now, the second is propanol. We're looking for propanol. Propanol means 3 carbon in a row. And then there is going to be a single bond for the alcohol. So 3 carbons in a row, we can see 2 carbons in a row, so wrong. And definitely A is the correct answer. We can get it correct even if we don't know organic chemistry in this particular method. The structure of a polymer is shown. Which statement about the polymer are correct? The polymer is a nylon. All right. Now we can see there is an amine, there is an acid. So this is an amino acid. All right. Now, one information about nylon is that it's made from dicarboxylic acid or diamine. So it cannot be possibly nylon. It can be a natural polymer because there are different units that we can see in the reaction. All right, so number 1 is wrong. If number 1 is wrong, then A is wrong. The polymer is formed by condensation reaction. Yes. We can see there is CONH bond, which is amide linkage or peptide linkage. So definitely both of these linkages are formed by condensation reaction. 2 is correct. There are ester linkages between the monomers. These are peptide linkage. We already named it. So C. Question 40, C is the correct answer. Guys, thank you for joining the video. If you like videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. Stay connected. We plan to upload around 20 videos for paper 2 solving in the coming exam. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.